Steve Sosnick here with today's Interactive Brokers Midday Market Update for Monday, March 1st, 2021. Rally in the alley. This is, I guess, what one would expect if I would have told you in advance that we would get a stimulus bill passing the House and another round of vaccines being made available, the J&J vaccine in this case, and a little bit of recovery from last week's minor declines and the first of the month, which is typically a solid seasonal factor. And I don't know that it's actually a reason to buy, but it becomes one from time to time. And you add all those together and poof, we're off to the races. As we're taping this now, most of the indexes are up between 2 and 3%, S&P up a little bit over 2%. That's a big move. That basically gets back most of what we lost last week in one clean shot. And here we go. Now, should we be optimistic about the stimulus? Of course we should. It's one of the key things that the markets have been depending on is fiscal and monetary stimulus. Is this a surprise to anybody? No. But, a lot of times the market, sometimes you think something's priced in and it's not. Is the J&J vaccine new news to anybody? Was anybody not expecting by late last week that it was not going to be approved in short order? Of course not. Everybody knew it. But again, it's good news. It's good news nonetheless. That's what kind of makes me think the market got a bit overextended this morning. But I guess we're buoyed a little bit by the bond market cooperating. Despite the good economic news, the bond market, which was freaking people out by the fact that yields were headed higher, has stopped moving higher, at least has stopped moving higher in yield, lower in price, at least as of today. Now, that hasn't stopped sectors that rely on the bond market from doing well. We see banks up about 3% as opposed to the 2% that we see in the broader market. The trade of going for the high, steeper yield curve there seems to be in effect. But, so have things changed dramatically? Yes, I guess in a sense that we are a little bit closer to stimulus. And yes, we have another vaccine today. Have they changed that dramatically that we should be wondering, what exactly is going on that makes us up 2%? Yeah, probably. It's a bit ahead of itself. And we are seeing it in risk assets. I mean, to me, one of the most amazing things is, as we're taping this now, Bitcoin is over 49,000. It was, I think, at about 43,000 at some point yesterday. Remember, Bitcoin trades 7 days a week. There's always action for you in the Bitcoin market, if that's the way you think. That's about a 15% range that we've seen in the course of 24 hours. We saw news that MicroStrategy is up to $4 billion in its holdings. I get concerned if one of the things pushing it is a leveraged buyer, because leverage works for you when it works and it doesn't when it doesn't. Citigroup made comments that, depending on how you want to interpret them, it's either very good news because, they say it's either on the cusp of being adopted, but then there was a flip side, which is it's a bit overextended. It's on the cusp of not acting well. Obviously, Bitcoin markets are populated mostly by bulls these days. And so we're seeing that kind of ferocity. Interesting to me, because the best thing about the J&J vaccine, I think, is it'll allow the U.S. to be vaccinated more quickly. I think actually one of the more interesting things is I think it will also allow the rest of the world to get vaccinated more quickly. That's a good thing, and I really haven't gone into the effects of how it might affect, let's say, emerging market economies vis-a-vis, or emerging markets vis-a-vis the U.S. I got to admit, I haven't had a chance to fully think that one through. But to me, if you've got a vaccine that can be stored relatively normally, it doesn't need all this special handling, and they can get 1 billion of these things made by the end of the year, which is what they are alluding to. That's better in many ways for the rest of the world than it is for the U.S. Because I think the U.S. people figured it was going to happen one way or the other within the next few months, whether it was Moderna, Pfizer, whatever. But I think J&J getting out there will, they'll be able to get this into places where the supply chains are a little, a little more difficult. And I think it's really good for the rest of the world. Let's be real. It's a good day today, in the sense, are we getting more money into people's hands that could eventually make its way into the market? Yeah, that's good. Are we going to get more vaccines into people's arms over the next few weeks and months that otherwise? Yeah, that's good. Do we need to see it all at once in one specific day when most of this news has should have been priced in already? We'll see. So let's see where the rest of the day, the rest of the week takes us. There's a lot of Fed chatter this week. Seemingly I don't think it's all of them, but seemingly most of the Fed governors are going to be saying something at some point during the week. Let's see if they all toe the line that Powell towed in front of Congress. I don't think he's going to say anything different. We've had 2 days of testimony from him, unless there's a clever reporter who can ask him a question that says something different. I think we're going to be okay with what he's saying, but let's see if there's any dissent among the Fed governors. Lot to go on this week, but right now it is, as I said, rally in the alley time, and we'll see whether this rally has legs or whether it's sort of a first day of the month phenomenon. Stay tuned. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.